Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Tears presented by the Fantasy Holics. With us, as always, is Castle Black Brian Bruner. Mr. Oviedo here. No Zach Rom tonight. He is taking a well-needed rest after a long football season. We'll coming at you tonight with some Super Bowl recap, maybe some free agent talk, and some big coaching changes that have already happened during the offseason. But first, let's dive into that Thursday night football. Super Bowl performance that was left a lot to be desired. Wow. I thought it'd be a defensive battle, but that was just too defensive, and it turned into more of a kicker duel than I expected.
It was so defensive that it was offensive to watch. Man, I remember just saying that I really had no dog in the fight, and I was just hoping for a fun-to-watch game, and we did not get that. 4 field goals going into the fourth quarter being the only scoring. I mean, that was dreadful. And I feel like the final box scores that we're going to bring up and the actual final score really don't reflect that game. I feel like that game probably should have just been fucking 12-0 or, whatever it was going into the fourth quarter, because it was like decided by that. Like, I know it wasn't decided, but after watching how it went down and how good of a game plan they had to keep Drake May uncomfortable, that game was just over, like, as soon as it started almost. And despite the meaningless stats that we'll bring up here, it was all Seahawks. And I assumed it would be that way. I was hoping it would be closer than this, but it is what it is. We only have 8 more months until we could watch a real football game again.
Man, it was low scoring, and you thought early on, like, this is going to be a great, close, tight game. The defenses are playing well. This is going to come down to maybe a last-minute field goal or a last-minute touchdown or maybe overtime. And then you're through 3 quarters, and you're like, I got to work tomorrow. I might just shut this off.
So on the upside, my wife and I take off the Monday after the Super Bowl as soon as the Eagles clinch a playoff berth, just in case they happen to be in the Super Bowl, and we went to party until 5 a.m. on the Super Bowl night. So we've already had off predetermined. So I actually ended up with the whole weekend off. And how great is this, right? My boss knows I'm a big Super Bowl fan, so she gave me off Super Bowl Sunday. I took a paid day off Super Bowl Monday, and Saturday I was supposed to work. I think my schedule was like 10 to 6:30 or something like that. I'm walking out to my car, open up my car door. I get a text message from the group chat from work. My store manager tells us that the entire shopping center lost power from like ice and cold, and my store is closed for the day. So I get paid for that too, because it was like, I didn't call off. It was the fucking
act of God.
Act of God. So I ended up having a nice 3-day weekend for the Super Bowl. And then yesterday, because we both had off, nothing to do, no plans, we actually went and caught a little matinee movie at like noon. Had the theater completely to ourselves, because what maniacs go to the fucking movies at 12 p.m. on a Monday. We saw that new movie, Send Help. I don't know if you've seen the commercials for that. It's like Rachel McAdams and this dude are in a plane crash and they get caught on a desert island. It's a little pretty wild. It was good, exciting. So did that on Monday, came home, just had a nice lazy day, got in the mindset to go back to work. And yeah, man, back to the grind today. But nice little Super Bowl weekend outside of the game pretty much sucking.
Well, lucky for you, you get to save that day off next year, because the 2027 Super Bowl is going to be played on Valentine's Day, and President's Day is the following day.
Right. Yep, it'll just keep going. 22 game season incoming. 3 bye weeks.
So yeah, that Super Bowl would have been a good stat to bring up last week. It was the most unlikely Super Bowl based on preseason odds. The Seahawks were 60-1 favorites, and the Patriots were 80-1 favorites to make the Super Bowl. It was the first Super Bowl since Super Bowl 38 where both teams missed the playoffs the year before. And had so much momentum. It seemed like it was going to be an instant classic, but man,
it'll be a forgotten Super Bowl. It'll be one that nobody really brings up. Like, oh, remember that year? Sam Darnold finally winning one will be like or Sam Darnold winning one, so unlikely as that seemed, will be like the thing that people will ever remember about this.
Jets fans punching the air. Vikings fans too.
I've been saying it since we started the playoff talk, man. I was a firm believer that the big Vikings collapse was not Sam Darnold here, and that by no means is he like a superstar quarterback, but he's very capable with the right surroundings and the right coaching, and good for him. I mean, the amount that dude got shit on, I mean, fucking good for him for just sticking it out and not just giving up or, becoming a career backup and not trying or whatever, because rough start to the career. So let that be a lesson. If you have a young, highly drafted quarterback and he doesn't look so good year one or even year two, it can turn around. That is a position that really can be coached up and gets coached up. And, if you're one of those teams drafting a rookie, you say you're a Titans fan and, you got Cam Ward and he didn't look so great year one. Give him the chance, man. These dudes get drafted for a reason. There's always going to be busts, but you have so many people doing so much research and scouting and really digging in deep when they draft these guys where they draft them. So there was a reason Sam Darnold was a high draft pick, and look at him now.
Look at him now. He you have to go through the 49ers car wash to get a career rejuvenation. Mac Jones might be next on that career arc.
I mean, dude, I think given that the fact that this quarterback class looks like kind of Mendoza and nobody, I think Mac Jones could very, very well be a starting quarterback in the league this year.
Definitely.
Get one of those Darnold type of contracts,
Yes. So where do the Patriots and Seahawks go from here? I think I mentioned it last week. The Seahawks have a lot of pieces that are up in the air for next year, and the first domino already fell with Clint Kubiak going to be the head coach of the Raiders for next year. The Seahawks have a lot of pieces that are a free agent. Tyreek Woolen, Boye Mafe, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet has a ACL tear. There's no telling how long he'll be out. Man, where did the Seahawks go from here? Is this a one and done kind of situation?
So what the Seahawks do have going for them is I think they're one of the better run organizations out there. They seem to just bring in the right people, the right coaches, the right players. I heard this, I forget if it was the CBS pod or maybe it was the Footballers pod of the last day or two. The Seahawks are the only team, or I'm sorry, not the Seahawks, the general manager, John Schneider, I think his name is. He's the only GM to put together 2 Super Bowl winners that did not have a single common coach or player. So he basically built 2 completely, from scratch between free agency and drafting and, moves like that, put together 2 Super Bowl winning rosters, that's amazing. I mean, Howie Roseman didn't do that. Now, I want to say Howie Roseman didn't do it all by like Lane Johnson and like maybe 2 other players were there for both Eagles Super Bowls. But, other than that, Howie Roseman almost did it, but the Seahawks dude did it. So it's a well-run organization. You win the Super Bowl, you're always going to lose your coordinators, almost definitely. That almost always happens. You're going to lose a couple free agents. I think with Ken Walker, given that he just won the MVP of the Super Bowl and how well he played down the stretch run for the Seahawks there, I'm pretty sure they're going to give him enough money to keep him. At least I think they will. I mean, he said he wants to be there. We all know that running backs just don't command big money in the open market. So I think if it comes down to it, that if he goes out there and tests free agency and he's got 5 teams offering him $10 million a year, and one of them's the Seahawks, he's just going to go back to the Seahawks. Maybe even if it's only a shit team, the Cardinals, whatever, offer him $11 million, he might just say, "Fuck it, I'd rather go try to run it back in Seattle, where he's been his whole career." So I think he'll probably stay. Darnold obviously is going to be there. JSN, they will lock up with a mega NBA style max contract. Obviously, they've got a good offensive line. That defense was the main reason they won the Super Bowl this year, probably. So I think they'll be okay. I don't think they'll be considered the favorites by any stretch to repeat. I'm sure they'll be up among the highest odds, but definitely not the highest. So not knowing what happens, we have no idea what's going to happen with free agency, trading, the draft. But just as it stands right now, I would bet that there'll be at least a competitive playoff team next year. I don't think they're going to have a major collapse.
Yeah, it's hard to think of anything that's happening now having a huge impact on next fantasy season. But, when you've got 60 teams that you have to manage year round, you want to be ahead of the game and making those moves ahead of time and striking while the iron's hot.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough running that many teams. Got to tell you, even though they're imaginary teams, they still require some work. I will be in the next couple days. I'll be opening up and rolling over I think it's 12 or 13 leagues that I actually commission that I just leave on freeze during the NFL playoffs. I always have at least a couple people that are like, "Oh man, why don't you open them up? Why don't you, we want free agency open, we want trading open." I'm like, "Look, man, I need the break. I just need to not think about fantasy too much for a few weeks here and just enjoy football." But now that the Super Bowl's over, I'll be getting those all rolled over and free agency open and draft orders set and all that good stuff. So it'll be much more back to the normal daily grind on fantasy for me. This time of year, I'm not super active, to be perfectly honest with you, even mainly because I don't like trading draft picks this time of year. We're just getting to the point where they're starting to build up. And then also on teams that I view as like contenders, I'm not trying to make moves to win next year's title in February. Like, I'm not going out looking for aging veterans on the cheap. I'm going to wait for the draft to happen there. I'm going to wait for the summertime and starting to get some reports on who's where on the depth chart and who's injured and who's looking like they might retire. So I just kind of learned that from a lot of the savvy people that I listen to and follow for dynasty stuff, that just, if somebody presents you a great trade this time of year, take it. If someone is willing to sell you a draft pick for on the cheap this time of year, any deal that benefits your roster, take it. But I'm not even really actively looking for stuff this time of year. I'm more or less just assessing my teams and where are they at and making those waiver ad drops, whenever the leagues open up to do that, and just kind of trimming the fat and kind of assessing where it's at. But I'm definitely not out there grinding trades and doing anything of that nature really this time of year.
But now might be the time before Pro Day and the Combine come, because, throwing a football in gym shorts is a very accurate representation of playing in the National Football League.
Yeah, I will say, if you are actively trying to acquire draft picks, you've got a rebuilding team, you're looking to get young, you like this draft class, whatever the case, I would say right now really probably is your last time to get draft picks at any type of normal value. The second we get into rookie season and we've got rookie previews popping up on all these podcasts and guys on NFL Network and ESPN talking about rookies and what the first round is going to look like and this and that, those picks, it doesn't matter what class. This class is kind of viewed as like a little bit of a down class. It doesn't fucking matter. The second we start seeing mock rookie drafts and Jeremiah Love's going to go here, and what's the kid from Ohio State, Tate, that is named the wide receiver?
Yeah, Arnell Tate.
Yeah, he's apparently like the best receiver in this class, arguably, whatever, where he's going here to this destination. People start going crazy for those rookie picks. So right now, this kind of lull after the Super Bowl, before these rookie reports really start taking off, yeah, get out there and try to acquire your picks now, because they get real fucking expensive even in the worst of draft classes. So They're almost, to me, it's like unattainable if you're trying to acquire rookie picks right before rookie drafts, because you, you almost never hit on that because you have to overpay. It's like trading for Jaden Daniels at the beginning of last season, or C.J. Stroud after his nuclear rookie season. It's like the gods have to shine down on you, and every 19 different things have to go perfectly for you to even just make your return on investment there. So, yeah, man, get the rookie picks in the next week or two, or just wait until after and then try to trade for that rookie that you liked.
And every league has that one rookie hater that I like solid assets, established assets. I hate and they trade every rookie pick. That's the guy to target now.
Yeah, those dudes. There's leagues where you have multiple of those guys that just they already sold their 26 picks. They're trying to sell their 27 picks right now. As much as I dislike that strategy, you can't knock it, because I see teams like that win all the time. I mean, if you're trading a lottery ticket for a Derrick Henry, Derrick Henry probably scored you more points over the last 10 years or 8 years, however long Derrick Henry's been in the league. So yeah, man, if you can do that. I will say this is not the time of year to go out and acquire those vets, as I kind of already referenced. Like, if you want to do that, great. If you want to sell your 27 picks for studs, don't do it in February. Don't even do it in May. Do it in August, when you see what your team actually looks like and how other teams in the league actually look, and what your realistic odds of being competitive are. At that point, if you want to sell future picks and young, unproven players to get studs, that's when you do it. And then later into the season, if you're actually winning and locked up a playoff spot, then sell some more picks for some studs. But don't do that shit this time of year. It's the most rookie move in dynasty football, is just trying to assemble your super team at this time of year. It just doesn't work out. I mean, it can, but odds are things are going to go sideways. And now you traded for two guys that got injured in camp, and then you also traded for a running back that had a second or third round rookie drafted behind him that's now in trouble losing his job. So too many variables, man. Just assess, plan, plot, but I'm not huge on moves this time of year.
Right. So speaking of Clint Kubiak, he's going to the Las Vegas Raiders, who finished last in the NFL in scoring this year. A lot of changes coming to the Raiders organization this year under the steady hand of Tom Brady and company. What do you make of the Raiders offense with Clint Kubiak head coaching?
So, I mean, you have to like what he's done as an OC. Obviously, coming from a good family name there, good bloodline. He just won the Super Bowl. Now, granted, that was with a very heavy defense, but I mean, you got to like what JSN was able to do. You got to like that he got another solid year of production out of Darnold. So I think the main thing to look at with them is not so much what he's going to do, because we don't know what he's going to do as a head coach. We see excellent coordinators flop as head coaches 50-50, more than 50-50. It happens all the time. So I don't want to act like I'm a huge, deep studier of Clint Kubiak, but at the end of the day, he's got as good a chance as anybody. He's got the pedigree. He's coming off of a Super Bowl winning year. I think with the Raiders, what you really got to look at more that we at least have as tangible is that they have Genty, they have Bowers. You really don't have shit else. I think it's already like a lock that they're taking Mendoza. We heard from Zach last week that him and quarterback one room don't think super highly of him. They weren't even going to have him in the first round of their Superflex startup until I made a bit of a case for him. But we'll see. Again, we can speculate and procrastinate. Not procrastinate. What's the word I'm looking for? Not procrastinate. There's a certain P word that's like predict, but something different. But anyhow, we can guess all we want about Mendoza. Maybe he's good. Maybe he's mediocre. Maybe he sucks. But he's going to be their quarterback, so he'll have a ton to do with it. how well he can grasp the NFL game and step into that immediate starting role. But we definitely can all agree that Genty's a very good asset. Bowers is a very good asset. They desperately need offensive line help. They desperately need a pass catcher after Bowers. So he's walking into a tough spot, as most new head coaches are. Most new head coaches don't get handed what Ben Johnson got handed last year with the Bears roster. Usually you're taking the Saints that Kellen Moore took on, or the Titans that Brian Schottenheimer took on, or I think that was the coach. But usually it's a mess. Fantasy implications, I think we're all locked in that Bowers is going to be probably the second tight end off the board. Genty's, despite the bit of a struggling rookie year, just on volume and talent, I'm sure we're looking at Genty as like a second-ish round pick, probably a top 8 to 10 running back off the top of my head without, thinking about rankings and where people are going to go. I don't know. It's early to predict. I'd love to see if they drafted a ton of offensive linemen. Like they just went Mendoza and then straight offensive line in free agency. Not that they have a great defense, but if their best assets are a first overall pick rookie quarterback, a top 10 overall picked running back, and a top 14 overall picked tight end that are all within their first 2 years of the league, protect those motherfuckers. Get help on that offensive line ASAP, and then figure out the defense from there. If they don't address that, if they just go in with a completely patchwork bullshit offensive line again, I'll be substantially worried about Genty and Bowers having similar years that they had this year.
Can the Raiders un-Raider? Can they do the right thing for once? Like what they've done hasn't worked for like 25 years. Do they trade Max Crosby? And if they trade Crosby, what return are they getting? A first? I think a first might be too much to ask. They get 2 seconds or I don't know what Crosby yields in a trade, but if they can use that, they can get maybe a pick and a offensive lineman. Like I said, every team that takes a quarterback in the top 5, in my opinion, should invest heavily in the offensive line, or you're having a Joe Burrow or a Jane Daniels or a player that's under constant duress.
Yep. I mean, look at it. Okay, so you're playing fantasy football, you're playing dynasty fantasy football, and you're the Oakland Raiders. It's a no-brainer to trade Max Crosby for whatever haul you can get. Because let's face it, they are years away from competing. As good as Max Crosby is, it doesn't help you. And now he's just going to age out and be continued to get hurt and older and not be worth as much of a return. The dumbass Cleveland Browns, they had the opportunity to do the same thing with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett going into last season, there was rumors of him fetching 2 and 3 first-round picks, like similar haul to what the Cowboys got for Parsons. But what do the Cleveland Browns do? They brown it up. They give a massive mega max contract to Myles Garrett, who by all means deserves it. I mean, the guy literally went out and set the sack record this year. But what did that do for the Cleveland Browns overall? It took their legs out from under them when it comes to salary cap. They have nothing. I mean, they have what is on the Cleveland Browns other than Myles Garrett? I mean, Quinshon Judkins looks promising, but can barely walk yet from his injury. Shador,
they've got Fannin, they've got another really good defensive player. His name escapes me.
The linebacker they just drafted.
Yeah,
I know you're talking. I think went to UCLA. Yes, he was a good draft pick. I'm quite sure there's Fannin. Fannin obviously turned out to be very good. I'm sure they have 1 or 2 other good pieces that I'm leaving out. Apologies, Browns fans, all 11 of you. But what would be more helpful now and going forward for the Browns than if they would have moved all of that money that Garrett's taking up and gotten multiple first and second round picks. Like, that's how you build. That's how you fucking create dynasties and game-changing franchises. And it's just the Raiders won't be able to get as much for Crosby as they could for Garrett, but it's like the same exact scenario. They need so much help. Whatever they can recoup in picks and young players for Crosby will be infinitely more helpful for them. So I'd like to see them do that. And in return, you get to give Crosby the chance to go fucking win somewhere, not die.
Do him a solid.
Yeah, do him a solid. He's a hell of a player. Let him come to my Eagles. He can play on the fucking rush for us. Hell yeah.
Man, like, there's two places in the world that Max Crosby feels like a perfect fit. The Raiders and the Eagles. Oh, man.
I've always thought it's a shame for the overall about the Raiders sucking for my entire lifetime. They went to one Super Bowl in my lifetime, the year that they lost Rich Gannon, MVP. Yeah. The Raiders have the coolest fucking uniform, man. The black and silver. It's, dude, to this day, I don't own one, but I eventually will. The Bo Jackson black and silver 34, with some shorts and some matching black and gray Nikes, man, that's fire. That's as dope as an outfit gets, man. Those uniforms are fucking sick. And it sucks that they're never good. It's like the shittiest team in the NFL is the
Raiders. The Raiders black is the best uniform in the NFL, hands down.
Oh,
and remember, they should have made 2 Super Bowls. Don't forget the tuck rule.
Yeah. Charles Woodson doesn't forget.
Right. So I know this won't happen, but do the Raiders trade Crosby, and is there any chance they trade first overall to get a boatload of picks?
Man, it would probably be smart for them to do that.
They should.
So everyone pretty much agrees that Mendoza is locked in for the 101 if they stay there. And I'm quite sure if they did trade that pick to someone, it would be so that team could move up and take Mendoza because they believe in him that much. If you listen to the reports on Mendoza from, and, there's not a ton yet. We really didn't get into that whole rookie season. We didn't see his pro day or measurables and all that happy horse shit. But I don't think anybody thinks Mendoza is anything crazy special. I've heard was Zach talking about they're comparing him to Derek Carr last week when we were talking about it?
Yep.
Cool. And Derek Carr, a fine, suitable NFL quarterback, 9-10 year career, whatever it was. Do you really want to trade a haul to move up and draft Derek Carr? Like, hey, man, you can get 10 years of mediocrity. I don't know. Is that worth a haul? But again, teams, they look at quarterbacks that way. Just like us fantasy players, dynasty players, we get so fucking excited and hype about these rookies before we ever see them take an NFL snap. And the people we trust gas them up. And we look at those YouTube highlight reels and it's, man, this guy can really fucking play. Like, I want him. So some team probably would trade up a bunch to get there. And that probably makes a ton of sense for the Raiders given how much they need. But will they? Probably not. They'll probably just stick there and take them.
And Zach and our Zach's wide receiver one room and quarterback one room, they took some heat for, how could you not have Mendoza first overall super flex? Hold on, let's pump the brakes on first overall quarterbacks in the super flex draft. How many people already have buyer's remorse on Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, J.J. McCarthy? I mean, a highly drafted quarterback is not the slam dunk that people make it out to be. Give me a Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Love, a Mekhi Lemon. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, and you shouldn't be shocked either, if Mendoza's not the first pick in a super flex draft. I would not be sold if these other skill position players go to a phenomenal situation.
Yeah, I mean, this is to me, it somewhat mimics the Kenny Pickett year, where it was, as always, in just like the real NFL, in Superflex Dynasty leagues, everybody's desperate for quarterbacks. Nobody wants to sell them. Some teams hoard them, and that can fuck up the whole balance of the league. If one team has like 4 or 5 of the starters in the league, it really fucks up the balance. So it makes that, as stupid as it sounds and as unreasonable it sounds, the price of the quarterback has gone up in those leagues. If one team is sitting on 5 of the top 18 or whatever, look at what's left. And you can also take that bottom, the quarterback 27 through 32. Those guys get fucking benched and replaced and just shuffled around. So now if one team has 5 top ones, the rest of that league is trying to split up like 12, 13 other good ones, and everybody needs a minimum 2, and just the math there. So quarterback is golden. But I say all that to say that look at the Kenny Pickett year. Some team might have reached and took him 101. At a minimum, he probably fell down to like 104, 105. And I can't remember the whole draft that year, but I'm quite sure that was like the Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker year. Maybe? I have to look it up. But regardless what was there was multiple skill players, probably well over 12 now at this point, that you'd rather have on your roster than Kenny Pickett.
If I remember correctly, that was the Brock Purdy year.
No, Purdy was farther back. Pickett here. Let's look it up. We'll use the old internet machine. But yeah, I mean, I know that Pickett. It was the same year that Malik Willis had the betting Vegas odds to be the first overall pick, like pretty close to the draft, and then ended up being a 4th round, a day 3 pick.
Yeah, that was some riveting TV. I think Mel Kiper and Todd McShay were tilting.
NFL 2022 draft picks by round. Let's take a look-see. All right, so that year we had Trayvon Walker and Aiden Hutchinson go 1-2. So scrolling through, let's find. Okay, Drake London. Drake London so that's what year it was. It was Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jamison Williams, Jahan Dotson, Kenny Pickett 20th. And then, let's see, a lot of O-line and defense. Yeah, so that was it. But just in the first round of the NFL draft that year, you had those guys. You had London, Garrett Wilson, Olave, J-Mo, and, Treylon Burks. How could I forget Treylon Burks? And Kenny Pickett. So, I mean, obviously, you got London, Wilson, Olave, worth 8 billion times more than Kenny Pickett. Jamison Williams, substantially more than Kenny Pickett. So any of those guys would have been the better bet. Now, if you go, let's see, round 2, this is where I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, Breece Hall, Kenny Walker. Yeah, Breece Hall, early 2nd. Then you had Ken Walker, also early 2nd, Super Bowl MVP, Kenny Walker. Congratulations. Wan'Dale Robinson, who back-to-back 90-catch years. I'll take Wan'Dale over Kenny Pickett all fucking day. Let's see who else we had in this round. Offensive-wise, Tyquan Thornton. Oh, George Pickens. There you go. George Pickens was a mid-second round pick this year. Would you rather have George Pickens or Kenny Pickett? Pretty sure Kenny Pickett got taken over Pickens in every fucking Superflex draft. You can lock that up unless it was some kind of crazy wide receiver premium league. Anybody else here in the second? Oh, guy named James Cook from the Bills. Have you heard of him? He was at the bottom of the second round that year. So I think I'd want him over Kenny Pickett too. So I won't go through the whole fucking 22 draft class, but all of those people basically that I named worth way more than Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett probably got drafted ahead of the majority of them. And it's the wrong
So
move.
you don't have to take Mendoza first. Don't
No.
pigeonhole yourself into that pick.
Yeah, even if you're a team that like have the glaring need at quarterback, it's nice to, especially like say you're a decent team, you're like a middle of the pack team, but you only have one quarterback. Whatever you ended up traded a guy, somebody retired, got hurt, whatever. You have one solid quarterback. You've got Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert or something, and then like nothing behind him. You do not have to take Mendoza at 101 or even 102 just because you need a quarterback. Putting him as your starting quarterback too in your super flex spot ain't winning you shit this year. So pump the brakes. Take Jeremiah Love. Take that wide receiver, depending on your league scoring and your team needs. That guy is going to end up being worth a fucking lot more than Mendoza probably, because Mendoza, best case scenario, is probably going to end up being valued right around where like Cam Ward is valued right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool. I like Cam Ward. I'm happy to have him on my dynasty team, but I'd rather have Ashton Genty or Ted McMillan or whatever, a top running back or wide receiver from the prior class is worth. So yeah, man, definitely don't just draft a quarterback just because it's a thin year and your team needs them right now. If you're in any type of dynasty league that's active and you have a few open trade channels, you can get a hell of a lot more out of drafting that skill player than just taking a quarterback and forcing yourself into that corner.
Well, he was a first overall pick. I have to take him. Draft capital now. Draft capital is not the king.
I do like where the Zacks settled on saying take him at like the 107 in a super flex rookie draft, because sure, one or two or if not more of those running backs and receivers at picks 1 through 6 could bust, but I think their ceilings are so much higher than what Mendoza's is.
Another coaching hire to a abysmal fantasy franchise is Mike LaFleur to the Arizona Cardinals. These coaching hires so early, I don't understand. You've got coordinators and coaches in this coaching carousel. Do you need to sign a guy this early?
I guess the cream of the crop ones that are available early, Harbaugh, for example, I guess this year, people just want to lock them up, and if they can get them, great. I feel like the ones that suffer are the people that hire like middle of the cycle. So you've got the instant hires, like the hottest coordinators that didn't make the Super Bowl or like the super on fire college coach, and teams are going to scoop them up right away. And then you have a surprise fire like Harbaugh, and then boom, team can scoop him up because they didn't hire right away. I feel like the hires that have happened from post Harbaugh to the Giants all the way through now, those are the real unexciting, mediocre ones, because now they're settling, but they're not waiting for these top coordinators that are coming off of the Super Bowl. So yeah, we'll see. But the Mike LaFleur is who we're talking with the Cardinals hired. Always get the LaFleur boys mixed up. We got Matt up in the frozen tundra with the Packers, who's obviously proven to be a very good coach. His brother Mike LaFleur, hired by the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Mike LaFleur is coming off of being the offensive coordinator for the Rams under McVay, which we have a pretty good tree there as far as success goes for these guys. You've got Liam O'Connor?
Liam Cohen.
O'Connell?
Liam Cohen.
Cohen, that's it. I don't want to think of O'Connell.
Duval.
He obviously did very well. Really helped the Jags turn it around. You've got O'Connell. Is that it, Kevin?
Yep.
That's why I was thinking O'Connell. Okay, I wasn't There's a reason my brain. Yeah. Obviously very successful. There's been multiple guys. Feel free to mention other ones, but there's been multiple coordinators of his that have went out and had success in the NFL. Now
I think
the other
Kingsbury might be one.
They just brought him back in like an assistant role, Kingsbury, since he didn't get hired anywhere else. But I think he might have been in that tree before he left, possibly, maybe. Not 100% on that, but coming from that culture and that McVay tree in general has been a good thing for the people getting those jobs. Now, the other way to look at that is how much do they actually do when you're Sean McVay's offensive coordinator, because he's the one calling all the plays. It's almost like, remember that one time when Adam Gase was Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator? Like, how much was Adam Gase really doing for the fucking record-setting Denver Broncos offense of 55 touchdowns by Peyton Manning? So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Matt Nagy is the Chiefs coordinator. Like, yeah, that's all Matt Nagy. Absolutely.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes might not how to throw a spiral if it wasn't for Matt Nagy. I mean, that guy is genius. So we'll see what happens. I think LaFleur's destination of the Cardinals is unfortunate for him in that they're just a poorly run franchise. They kind of seem to operate the opposite way of teams like the Seahawks, that they don't bring in the right people every year. They drafted Josh Rosen and cut him immediately and fucking draft Kyler Murray the next year and just make not the best free agency moves and draft picks. So we'll see. Maybe the McVay magic can rub off a little bit and they have some success. They at least have some pieces there. They've got very arguably the best tight end in football. They've got Wilson and Harrison, or I wouldn't call them a deadly duo, but they're certainly talented enough wide receivers. And we'll see. Again, hard to think about a team's 2026 season this early in the process. We have no idea who they're drafting. We have no idea what kind of free agency moves they're going to make. But being an offensive mind hired from the McVay tree is certainly not a bad thing.
Yeah, Sean McVay is turning into the Genghis Khan of NFL coaches. One day you'll just know, like, all 32 coaches will have some sort of trace back to the McVay tree.
You know who really had a tree and I guess still does, that just reaches across the league? Andy Reid. Andy Reid's coaching tree is fucking wild. He had so many coordinators and just positional coaches that have just went on to success. Nothing but good things to say about my boy Big Andy. Despite the sour end in Philly, everybody knew he was a good coach. Everybody knew he was going to be immediately hired. It had just played it. It's so funny. It's the way we look at. I mean, with Harbaugh in Baltimore, and it sounds like Tomlin's going to take a year off here, but Tomlin will be back in the coaching cycle. No one would call them anything but great coaches. Andy Reid, Tomlin, Harbaugh, but it had just ran its course. They could not. Harbaugh couldn't be in Baltimore anymore. Pittsburgh couldn't deal with another year of Tomlin. Philly needed to move on from Reid, and it worked out for both sides. Reid went on and got. Do they have three Super Bowls, right? The Chiefs have.
Yeah, I think sounds right.
And the Eagles have 2 since he left. So I mean, it just played out the way it should. So.
Yeah, you never know which coach will hit, which coach will be a Shane Steichen, a Jonathan Gannon. It's a coin flip. The NFL is always evolving. Parity is king. But Bill Belichick never came back too, so maybe Tomlin is done for good.
I think the thing that doesn't get enough credit or brought up enough when it comes to like team success isn't so much the coach, but like the GM, and not even just let's face it, the GM himself isn't the only one calling the shots. It's ownership, it's the full organization, it's the assistant GM, it's the scouts. What that part of these organizations do, along with the coaching, along with the players they bring in, and how good the quarterback is, and how good their defense is, how good their offensive line is, that shit matters so much more than like the head coach. Like I think who's considered the best coach in the league right now. You can make a case for Sean McVay. He's just showered with praise all over. He won a Super Bowl. He's been very competitive and in the playoffs like every year. If you put Sean McVay on the fucking Cleveland Browns or the Titans or the Raiders or these teams that are poorly run, that make the wrong moves and the wrong picks, he's going to suck. He's going to have the same record I would with the fucking Cleveland Browns. Like, it's just a bit of an exaggeration there, but at the same time, it's not that off base because he's working with an organization that gives him some creative control, that makes the right picks, that brings in a Devontae Adams, that drafts a Puka Nacua, that makes sure they have a decent offensive line, that has good running backs, and just has a good culture and things like that. It's so much more than the head coach. Clint Kubiak going to the Raiders. Clint Kubiak might be the greatest coach of all time. He might have every tool that you would possibly want a coach to have, but if they draft Mendoza and then a bunch of shitty draft picks around him and don't address the offensive line and don't address the culture and don't improve, Mendoza's going to be considered a bust. He's going to be considered a shitty coach. You know what I mean? There's so much more to it than, oh, that guy's just a good coach, that's why it's a good team. It's a whole fucking, whole organization.
Yeah, culture. You hit the nail on the head. That was a word I was going to say if you didn't mention it. Every year there's the list of like the NFL team and the food, the facility, the training staff, the weight room, and on and on and on. And like the Cardinals get an F across the board every year. And it's just you don't want to come to work. This culture of losing, inept football that hasn't been, it's been decades, some of these teams, Jets, Raiders, Browns, Cardinals. And there was a video that went viral when Devontae Adams was on the Raiders, and it was like a locker room or a training room video. It was depressing. And I'm like, yeah, I could imagine that Devontae Adams signed with the Raiders, Derek Carr was traded, and then just immediately regretted that decision. It's a cancer. And when you're in a situation where there's no outlook, no optimism, you kind of give up, you kind of quit.
Yeah. This has so little to do with the NFL, but just when it comes to like workplace, I changed the T-Mobile store that I worked at like six months ago, back in the summertime, like July, I guess it was. And the store that I transferred to is like super busy, so everybody's making sales, making money, but it also has an amazing like culture. Like everybody gets along. The vibe there is great. My store manager spends like hundreds of dollars on groceries out of her own pocket to keep in our break room. Like you open up the fridge in my break room, you can make yourself like a fucking 3-course meal. And like, she just does that because we make her look good. We make her money. She fucking and it just breeds positive, like high-fiving each other type environment. You know what I mean? And it makes everybody work harder and want to try harder. That's in any aspect in life. Because I've worked for T-Mobile for 12 years now. I've worked in great stores. I've worked in mediocre stores. I've worked in shitty ones. The shitty ones, there ain't no food in the fridge. Nobody even like talks to each other. When when a customer walks in, nobody even wants to like greet the customer. You know what I mean? Little shit like that. So it kind of goes across the board for workplaces. And the NFL, as fancy and cool as it is, it's still a fucking workplace for these guys. So yeah, man, positive culture. It's fucking not looked at enough, and not addressed enough by these shitty organizations.
So does your store eat a lot of Uncrustables every week?
Other than my beers, I'm a very like low carb diet guy, just because I don't feel like doing cardio and I don't want to get fat. So like I just kind of live a low carb lifestyle. But there's Uncrustables in that pantry in my store 7 days a week, 365 days a year. There's we got an air fryer. There's pizza rolls and chicken nuggets in the fucking freezer. Like there's always food galore there.
That sounds delicious.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man.
All right, so as we're heading into the doldrums of spring and summer with the only NFL news coming, we have free agency starts March 11th. The draft is April 26th. The schedule's released in late May. What is your next NFL moment that you're most excited about? What are you looking forward to the most in this offseason?
Which date did you say free agency opens?
Free agency is March 11th.
So, I mean, that's
draft
always
April.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, I guess really those being the only things that really matter at all, they're the things to look forward to. Free agency, it's exciting enough, but it's not like a bunch of shit happens day one. I mean, sometimes you get big news on day one, I guess. Obviously, that's something to look forward to pay attention to. It can shift the values of a lot of players. Pickens, I guess, was considered the big free agent of this class, and they're already saying that Dallas is pretty much a lock to franchise him, even if it's just like a franchise tag as a placeholder, and then they end up working on a deal with him or whatever. But it sounds like Pickens not going to hit free agency, so that means that the wide receivers are shit, really. I mean, like, I think Alec Pierce has become the fucking belle of the ball at this point if Pickens is already accounted for. So the running backs, definitely you've got Walker, but we touched on that. I kind of feel like Walker's going to stay with the Seahawks, but he might not. He may have that playoff run may have convinced a team to give him bigger money than the Seahawks would. But you also have Breece Hall and ETN, so they're obviously a big part, big thing for fantasy. So that's something to look forward to. The whole rookie eval and draft and pro days and all that stuff is obviously matters a ton for fantasy in general, but especially for Dynasty, which I'm obsessed with. So that's probably the biggest thing, that once the sites and people that I really pay attention to for the rookie evals start pumping out rookie drafts, and we'll definitely do some rookie drafts on here and rookie talk. Zach spends tons and tons of time looking at the receivers in particular, but all the incoming rookies. So we'll dive into that a ton in this offseason. But yeah, free agency, rookies, rookie talk, rookie drafting. That build up, like once the NFL draft happens, most of my dynasty leagues have their rookie draft, a slow draft, of course, but like starting almost immediately, like that Sunday night even, or like that, that Monday of that weekend.
Yeah.
That's the most exciting for me of the entire offseason, because with 60 leagues, that's 60 rookie drafts. I might cut down a little bit this year. Still, I was kind of doing a little bit of an inventory of all my leagues, and there's just some that are like lower buy-in that I care about, but I don't like. I could shave a few because I'll inevitably want to do at least one or two startups over the offseason. So I might shave down a few of the lower buy-in, lower activity leagues just so I can get a startup or two in. But once I've got that week or so after the NFL draft, when I've got 25 slow rookie drafts going at the same time, that's fun, because you'll see a lot of trades there. Like that's where one of the only times of the early off season where I will make a lot of trades is like right as the rookie draft starting, or like in the rookie draft, because sometimes you're sitting there on the clock on a slow draft with the 106 and 5 guys in your league are all desperate for that wide receiver, and they give you the 108 and the 2-2 and the 209 or whatever the case. So that's just a lot of fun, man. That's my favorite part of the offseason is like in rookie drafts.
Yeah, definitely. Draft season, you're getting invites, you're getting your draft orders set. I'm a big schedule release guy. I like to see like what are the playoff schedules? What are the schedules week like 14, 15, 16? And if you have a stud that has a nice looking lineup, you're like, oh, yes, like you're gonna make the playoffs. Come on. You're watching fantasy football YouTubes and you're listening to podcasts and you're gonna make the playoffs. And you're gonna hit that playoff schedule with your stud with the most playoff matchup. Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, man. It's fun. There's a reason I got addicted to it, and we have a podcast, and it's the best, man. This actual time of the year is like the only time of the year that I'm not crazy excited about fantasy football and dynasty for obvious reason. It's the absolute slowest time of the year. As I mentioned right off the top, I'm on purpose very inactive when it comes to like trying to make trades or trading for picks or something this time of year, just because there's so much uncertainty. We're so far away from week 1 that I'm harder for me to get excited because I'm purposely not making a lot of those moves. But that doesn't mean you don't want to be doing a constant evaluation of your rosters, whether you have 2 or 3 of them or fucking 80 of them. You want to keep trimming the fat, so to speak, dropping guys. If waivers are open in your leagues, get rid of irrelevant guys, pick up running backs that are 3 and 4 on depth charts that'll probably still be on depth charts. I like especially, well, only in Superflex, I guess. I like picking up any backup quarterbacks that are available. If you're wasting roster spots with wide receivers and running backs that you already know are never going to sniff the field, go pick up Nate Mullins, who's Trevor Lawrence's backup. Go pick up Joshua Dobbs, who's looking like he's the backup for Drake May.
Love me some Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah, man. No eyebrows, but he can play. He's good. He's shined for fantasy multiple times. So not even guys that have shined for fantasy, but literally any quarterback that is the locked in number 2 should be rostered in a Superflex league. Yeah. And with how many leagues I have, it's amazing how many of those backup quarterbacks are available. Most dynasty leagues have big rosters. You can afford to roster some backup quarterbacks. So get out there and do shit like that. Pick up some young and promising, maybe rookies and second-year guys that look like they might have a shot at the depth chart this year. You just want to make sure you're not hanging on to fucking Amari Cooper still, or guys that are literally retired. You'd be amazed how many teams I'm looking at some of the competition in my leagues, and there's literally retired and career injury type players and guys that have not been in the league for 6 months clogging up the bottom of their bench. So make sure you're not that guy. Make sure you're picking up guys with a pulse that might help you at some point.
Andrew Luck, still young. He might come back. The Colts need a quarter. Drop Andrew Luck. Get him off here. Come on now.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
He's not coming back.
Man.
We
more or less
got an hour out of this.
We did. I was gonna say I was gonna like bust out the stat lines from the Super Bowl, but it really doesn't make any sense to, because the stat lines for the Super Bowl, other than Kenneth Walker being the MVP and getting 130 something on the ground and 20 something in the air, the rest of the stat lines were just completely padded by kind of a frantic, meaningless fourth quarter of football. Drake May had like 295 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Bullshit. I don't care that sounds like an okay fantasy day. Drake May was rattled and rushed and looked bad. period. He doesn't deserve to say that he had 295 yards and 2 touchdowns because it was bullshit. So yeah, kudos to Kenneth Walker. Other than that, I really don't think.
Kudos to Jason Myers.
Yeah, man, Jason Myers. He should have been second in line for the MVP behind Walker, and scored all more points than him. But yeah, honestly, when I was looking, obviously I looked at the stat line right after the Super Bowl, but before we came on, I was looking at the stat lines again. I was like, I don't think any of these have any relevance other than Kenneth Walker just being dominant and having all those touches and yards. The pass catchers, the quarterbacks, it was all very, very inflated by the more or less meaningless fourth quarter. So I don't think it's really necessarily worth going over all the numbers. You guys have the box scores at home. You can look the same as we did.
I mean, there's almost nothing that happened this Sunday that you could extrapolate into next year. It's so much is going to change.
Yeah, I think it's the one thing that may have been just a hair uncertain is if Darnold went out and just completely choked and cost him the game. There would have been talk all offseason that, they're going to replace him or, whatever the case is, they're going to bring in a free agent or draft. So, no, that's gone. Sam Darnold's locked in there. But other than that, it's probably notably more likely that Walker does resign there as opposed to if they lost and he had a bad game. But other than Darnold kind of cementing himself and Walker tipping the odds back more to Seattle, I don't think anything on either side of the ball really changed at all by the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we will see what the offseason brings. Who's your 2027 Super Bowl prediction?
Man, super early like this.
Super insanely early. Nobody's
early.
off the table.
Off the top of my head, let me go Chicago Bears. Because what they managed to do this year, and with how young their roster is, hard to. Other than the fact that the Bears have pretty shit luck post 1985, they look pretty fucking good. So give me the Bears, and then on the AFC side, let me say it's so weird with like the the Bills never been able to win. It's nuts. I don't think the Patriots repeat the AFC. Let's go Jaguars. Fuck it. Jaguars, Bears.
Oh, man.
How about that?
Jags, Bears.
Liam Cohen, Duval gets it done. Duval gets it back. How about you? What do you got?
I know you're hoping the DJ Moore is a part of those Chicago Bears going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think it'll be the Rams, and something tells me it'll be the Bills or the Ravens. They've had so many years of being so close with these great coaches, and then the first year they're away from Harbaugh or McDermott, they're going to make the Super Bowl, and they're going to say, well, of course they should have gotten rid of that amazing coach. Like, I'll say Bills Rams is my pick at the moment.
For what it's worth, the Rams were the only other thing I was going to say other than the Bears. So we'll see. It would be funny if one of us nailed the Super Bowl for next year in early February of this year. We'll bookmark that. We'll come back and check.
That would be pretty awesome. It would cement our football knowledge.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, we this episode was pretty loose. We didn't do anything super official. We just figured we'd check in, bullshit with you a little bit, talk Super Bowl, talk those couple coaching hires. we didn't have our guy Zach with us. Not with us this week, but he'll be back next week, and we'll definitely come at you with some more detailed content. We'll do some rookie breakdowns, looking at the free agents, things like that. We'll definitely get some mock drafts going for rookie mock drafts, dynasty startup mock drafts, even some stupid early redraft mock drafts, because that's always fun, and just all the good stuff that we all do off season, man. We're all obsessed with this shit. We can't wait for the season to start again. So we'll be with you every week, looking at all the news, breaking it down. Feel free to DM us, message us, any questions you want to have us talk about. Love when you guys ask questions during the show. It's always fun answering.
Can't get enough fantasy football. We'll be back to our 2.5 hour episodes before you know it.
Absolutely, man. We'll catch you guys next Tuesday.
Thanks for tuning in.